Steve, don't people like transitions like this?
LOL, no, what's wrong with you? Show them the cool one.
I don't freaking show them the cool one. There, are you happy?
Yes, now roll the intro.
Wait, that's my line. I mean, whatever. Just Steve, just roll the intro, buddy. Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Max. I am your streaming and gaming veteran, and let's go ahead and talk about transitions again. So in the last video, we made a simple stinger transition using DaVinci Resolve. If you missed that video, it's going to be right up here in the cards. You can see it. It's going to be right above my head. I promise. It's there. Just look. So as you saw in the beginning of the video, we used our stinger transition along with 3 plugins that I'm going to tell you about today, as well as a free macro device in order to make that nice, smooth, easy, clean transition. I can't think of any more acronyms to go with that, so we're just going to go with that, okay? One side note about plugins that you should know is that Streamlabs OBS actually is not an open source software, so they really don't allow a lot of plugins, especially the ones that we're going to talk about today. So if you're going to use these, I would highly advise that you use either OBS Base or the original OBS or OBS Live, because those are both open source softwares that allow for plugins, basically mods for your OBS. So if you think about a video game where you're wanting to mod the game and make it a little bit better, that's exactly what a plugin is, and we're going to definitely need something that allows us to do that. All right, with all that being said, let's get to work. Okay, so the 3 plugins that we're going to need are going to be OBS WebSocket, Move Transition, and Transition Override Matrix. I'm going to leave all the links for the plugins down below so that way you can go straight to the websites. They can be a little tricky to install, so definitely make sure that you follow the instructions on how to install them, because you have to replace some OBS folders and things of that nature. It's not as bad as you think, but I would definitely advise following it because I struggled with it for a little bit. All right, so a quick overview of these plugins. The OBS WebSocket, I'm not sure exactly what it does to a degree. There's a lot of smarter people out there who probably do. What I understand it as is it allows us to be able to use a lot of these plugins as well as the free software we're going to use for our macro device. That's as good as you're going to get with that one. The Move Transition plugin is going to allow us to make our transitions a lot smoother and cleaner as opposed to being harsh and kind of ugly like they are now. And lastly, the Transition Matrix Override, which is my personal favorite, honestly, out of all these, is going to allow us to be able to assign a transition to whatever scene we want. So right now, currently, if you have your OBS set up to do just a stinger transition, that's all you're gonna do. But the Transition Override Matrix is gonna allow us to be able to map out whatever transitions we want for whichever scene we want. So it gives us complete flexibility. And lastly, the macro device we're gonna be using is gonna be this thing. Wait, no, not that thing. We're gonna be using this thing right here. So what we're gonna be doing is we're gonna be downloading an app called Touch Portal. I'm gonna have a link for Touch Portal down below, but basically it's a free piece of macro software extremely similar to a Stream Deck. There is a paid version which gives you a ton more buttons you can use, like you can have up to like 1,000 buttons or something like that. But if you just want the free version, you do get 6 buttons with maybe a few pages. I don't remember. I haven't dived really deep into it, but I figured out enough to be able to make this transition that I do on the Stream Deck happen for free on a Touch Portal. So the main advantage with this is you don't have to use just a Stream Deck piece of equipment or the Stream Deck software. You can actually use an old tablet or an old phone to be able to make this happen. Now that we've laid the groundwork for this, we're gonna go ahead and jump into the PC and start setting this up, and it's gonna be super quick, I promise. Alright, if you made it to this point, I'm going to assume that you figured out how to download Touch Portal on your computer and on whatever device you'd like to run it on, your phone, your tablet, or anything. And I'm also going to assume that you figured out how to download all the plugins and get them all installed, the WebSocket, the Move Transition, and then the Matrix Override. Alrighty, now that we got all that figured out, I'm going to show you what they should look like in your OBS so that way you can confirm that you got them in. Alright, I'm going to switch over to the live scene so you can see the matrix of infinite screens and what we're looking for here. So what you should be seeing in here is in your scene transitions box, if you downloaded the Move Transition plugin correctly, you should see Move automatically in your scene transition. So that means that that one is correct. So we're going to go ahead and open the transition matrix, and basically it looks like the matrix, so to speak, because it's got so many freaking columns, especially for me because I have a lot of scenes. But the scenes that we're going to be working with today are called FS1 and FS2. Basically those stand for full screen 1, and then full screen too, but that's really our live scene. Alrighty, now that we've confirmed we've got our plugins installed correctly, let's go ahead and go to our desktop and see if we got Touch Portal installed. Alrighty, when you come to your desktop, you should see a Touch Portal app just like this, and it's the same exact thing for your phone. We're gonna go in. Might take just a second. Alrighty, so this is what it looks like. So I've got a couple of preset options in here already. I'm actually going to delete this one because this is one we're going to remake. So the idea behind this is that just like a Stream Deck, there are macro buttons you can program into here. You can change the icons, you can change the color of the thing, whatever you want. In the paid version, you get a significantly bigger version of this, and you can actually have a lot more buttons. It's only like 10 bucks, I think, so it's really not that bad in price. So now that we've confirmed that our Touch Portal's in there, and then you confirm that your phone is in there, the one thing I will say with the connection between the phone and the app on the computer is you want to make sure that your IP address is correct. Now the IP address may be correct, but I would retype it in because I was having the worst time trying to connect my phone to the computer, and the reason why is the IP address was timed out or something, so I had to I just deleted it and retyped it in, and boom, it connected immediately, but I spent 2 hours trying to figure that out. Alrighty, so now that we've confirmed everything, like I said, we're gonna go back into OBS. Okay, so now that we're back in OBS, we're gonna go to our scenes here. So for me, what I want to do is I want to transition from my full screen, which is my chat screen, to my live scene. But I don't want just this simple move transition. While it does look good and you can use it, what we're trying to do is we're trying to get our stinger transition to happen, and then we want to have a delay, and then we want our move transition to happen so we get like a pop-in effect. So how we're going to achieve that is by doing this. So we're going to go to our live screen, which is what we're on now, and we're going to make a duplicate copy of it. So we're going to duplicate the live scene. So if you right click and press duplicate, we'll do that, and we're going to name this FS, just plain FS. So once you've got your duplicate scene figured out, go ahead and put it between your FS1 and FS2 like so. Just for organizational purposes, you can do whatever you want, but this is how I like to do it. So now we're going to click onto the FS, which is our transition scene. So we should have 2 live scenes, like I said. So the FS scene, what we're going to do is we're going to hide our camera. So I'm going to hide this camera, and we're going to hide our border if you have one. So basically it should look like this. So when you are clicking through, you click through to this one, and then there should be nothing there, and then boom, we pop in. So we've already got the pop-in effect going. Okay, so let's go ahead and open up our transition matrix. What we're gonna do is we're gonna expand it a little bit and make it a little bigger. And the main thing we're looking at is we got a column A here on the left and a column B on the top. So we're gonna scroll down on our column A and find our 3 scenes that we're wanting to manipulate. So after we find those, we're gonna scroll over until we find them on the top here again, so they should be in 2 spots. So we're going to start with our full screen, which is our intermission screen. We're going to change, we're going to come over here, and we're going to match up with the FS transition scene. So what we're going to do is we're going to go FS1 to FS. What we want to happen is we want it to be a stinger transition. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go to our transition scene, and then we're going to go over on our transition scene, and we're going to find our FS2 column here. So we want to match up. And we're going to change this one to a move transition. And then just for simplicity to complete it, we're going to actually do a move transition back to our live scene if we want to program another button. So let's go ahead and we're going to find our live scene to our intermission scene. We want that to be another move just for consistency purposes. So anyway, so what we're going to do is we're going to just test it out here by clicking. So here's our full screen again. Now we're going to transition. So we got our stinger. Very nice. And then if we click there, all right, so boom, there we go. So we got our intermission screen turning into a stinger on our transition scene, and then we've got our live scene. Okay, so now that we got all that figured out, we're actually going to go back to Touch Portal. Okay, so now that we're back at Touch Portal, what we're going to do is we're going to make this full screen, and we're just going to click some random button that we want to macro. So after we get that pulled up, we're going to make this full screen as well. So the only 2 columns or areas that we care about are OBS and Logic. So that's the only 2 that we care about for this particular example. I highly suggest that you go in and play around and try and figure out some new things you can do with Touch Portal. Like, you can set all sorts of things, so really dive in. I'll probably do a little bit more in depth of a video on this just because I feel like there's so much to unpack and I haven't figured it out yet, and I'm very curious because it's free and it does so much stuff for free. So what we're gonna need is we're gonna need three things. We're gonna need two scenes, and we're gonna need a delay timer. So we're gonna set two scenes here. So if you just click them, it's right here, it says set scene. We're gonna click it, and then we're gonna add a wait timer as well. That's basically a delay. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna drag our wait timer in between scenes. So how we want it to work is when we press our button on our phone, we want it to transfer to our transition scene and then to our live scene. So I'm going to refresh it on my phone. I'm actually going to start recording it so you can see this happening live. So you're going to see now that it's recording, it's going to pop up on my phone, and we're going to see the button and we're going to be able to press it. So it's very simple. So what we're going to do is we're going to hit the drop down box, and if you set up Touch Portal right, then you should see this. What happens a lot of times is if you open Touch Portal before you open your OBS, it won't connect for some reason. So make sure that if you're doing this, you open your OBS and then you open your Touch Portal, and that should fix the problem. If not, you might need to do some extensive research to figure out what the issue is. Could be a WebSocket issue. But so what we're going to do is we're going to find our transition scene. So the first scene select we're going to do is going to be for our transition or our FS scene, and then we're going to set the delay to 4,000 milliseconds or 4 seconds. And then our second scene we're going to select is our actual live scene. So now that we got that set up, we need to set up an icon. I highly suggest you don't use these icons because they suck, but we're going to use the eyeball for this example, right? I mean, I don't know who would use a bus to signify a scene transition or anything. Anyway, so we're going to save it. So then our eye popped up on my phone. What I'm going to do is I'm going to drop this. I'm going to bring OBS back over so you can see. Alrighty, so we're going to go to our full screen here, and then if we did it right, should go to our transition and then our live scene. So let's press the button and see what happens. Alrighty, see? Nice and clean. That is so much better than doing a simple cut or fade transition. Alrighty guys, I hope this video was helpful, and I really do want you guys to take away a few things. So the main thing is just really take a lot of time to look at your transitions, because it's a small thing, but it really does add a high level of professionalism to your streams. And with that being said, I would love to see what you guys come up with. This is just what I've done. Take a hard look at your streams, take a hard look at your transitions, and if you need to add stuff in here, if you don't want to use a stinger, just use the move transition. It makes it so much smoother and cleaner when you're going from scene to scene. You may only use a couple of scenes, but those couple of scenes you want to be sharp. Lastly, because I forgot to say it in the beginning of the video, and I'm going to say it again here, is I do stream on Twitch every Monday and Friday around 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time if you want to come ask me questions, or honestly just tell me about how your transitions are going. Also, last thing is just make sure you hit that like button if you really enjoy this content, because I do enjoy making it and I want to make sure you guys are getting some value from it. I have a lot of other transition videos I want to make and just other stream tips and tutorials and things. So whatever you guys want to see, leave down in the comments below and let me know. But other than that, guys, thank you so much. And as always, we'll see you next time. Did I get him? I shot the dude directly in the head. How did he not die?